So The Adam Project is a new Netflix film starring Ryan Reynolds. He plays a pilot from the future, from the year 2050, who travels back in time because time travel is a thing in the future. He travels back in order to fix something that's gone wrong in his life. In doing this, he meets his 12-year-old self and teams up with him in order to complete his mission and solve his problem. That's basically the gist of the plot, and off the bat I'll say this isn't a great movie. It's not even a particularly good movie, but it's not awful either. But it does have a lot of issues, and that starts with the story, which is very messy and confusing, and when you get to the credits of this movie and you see that it's got 4 writers, that kind of explains why the movie was the way it was. For starters, the laws of time travel and the effects it has don't really make the most sense to me. Of course, there's so many movies that tackle time travel and they've all got their different laws. I'm not saying any particular one is right, but here it just doesn't make any sense at all to me. And this applies to also Adam's mission, what he's trying to accomplish. I didn't really get the gist of it. I didn't really see how him going back was solving or helping the problem based on the whole time travel issue. And time travel isn't just used once, it is used twice, so that both Adams can go back even further to team up with their dad to complete another mission. So it does get a bit hectic, you know, with the use of time travel and all the different things they're trying to do. And with all this sci-fi, of course, it does have to take inspiration and whatnot from other sci-fi movies, and it does take some stuff that you're going to notice, particularly Star Wars, and it's not like they're trying to hide it. They quote, you know, they'll say, wow, that's like a lightsaber or something. You know, it's kind of on the nose, but it doesn't really excuse the fact that it's just like they're just pulling stuff from Star Wars and putting it in their movie. Plot aside though, there is other problems, such as the writing. The writing is very strange in this movie. For starters, no one in the past is particularly shocked to find out that time travel is a thing. No one is particularly shocked. They're like, oh shit, you're from the future. Anyway, but I mean, this movie does have quite a short runtime, so I guess that explains why nothing is really fleshed out at all in this movie, why stuff is just very, oh really, okay, let's do this, I'll help you with that. You know, it's very just quick to the point. Like, characters are very quick to get on board and understand what's going on. Now when it comes to young Adam, you know, he seems like a good little actor. You know, he seems confident, he was, you know, very thorough in the role here in what he was doing. But honestly, for the life of me, the stuff that as a 12-year-old boy, which is what he's playing, the stuff that he is saying as a 12-year-old just doesn't make much sense. It just doesn't seem like stuff that a 12-year-old boy would say. He seems way too smart. He seems way too like witty and cocky, saying stuff that like a stand-up comedian would say if he'd already thought about it for ages. You know, it just seems like stuff that really someone like this kid in this scenario wouldn't be saying. And honestly, apart from Ryan Reynolds, who did have some weird dialogue, it was most other characters' dialogue that felt weird. Like, it felt very scripted. It felt like they were just reading off a board, like, in order to progress the scene so they could get to the next scene. None of it really felt that authentic. And all this is mostly in that middle section of the movie. Like, the start of the movie is fine, it's cool enough, you know, like it keeps you interested to the point where you're thinking, okay, this could be a cool movie. But that middle 80% of the movie is just a bit of a mess, and it was quite uninteresting too. The plus from this is Ryan Reynolds. Okay, Ryan Reynolds is good here. You know, you kind of know what you're getting with Ryan Reynolds. You are going to get some good dry wit, sarcasm, a good bit of humor from him because he's Ryan Reynolds and he's a very good actor. He's good at playing characters like that. That's why he sort of plays a lot of similar characters, I guess. But even here, he did actually have a little bit more seriousness to him than like a usual role, I'd say, which was nice. You know, he does of course have the usual wit and comedy, you know, essentials to his character, but at times he did actually have a bit of seriousness to him, which was nice because you don't get that all the time from him. And this movie did attempt to build like emotional bonds between Ryan Reynolds' Adam and the younger Adam, along with the father played by Mark Ruffalo. But honestly, it didn't really click. It wasn't really fleshed out enough, as I said, because the movie's quite short, so you could never really feel for these characters all that much. I mean, when it comes to the end of the movie, I did feel it was kind of sweet. It was kind of nice, you know, seeing all these 3 characters sort of, you know, get to their conclusion and stuff, and like the connection they had. And at the end, you do kind of get a bit of like, oh, that's kind of sweet. But honestly, everything prior to that was just not really good enough, so you can't really get that emotional or invested in it. Whereas if it had been written better all before, that ending would have been way more impactful than it was. I think they had part of an idea here, but clearly not like much of an idea of what story to tell with that idea in mind. You know, they just couldn't seem to really grasp and get something solid to, you know, put on the screen. Time travel's been done many times. I think this was a cool idea, I guess, of someone going back to team up with their former self. Not like that hasn't been done before, but, you know, I think it was a cool idea, maybe the way it was set out, but they just could not make a good, like, interesting story from it. It was a bit messy. It was just going kind of all over the shop at times, and it's just hard to stay that interested, honestly. I think this movie was okay. It was fine, you know, but it was very mediocre, and it's very throwaway, not something you'd ever rewatch. For me, at least, it was just a bit boring, I'm afraid. Performances were fine, the movie looked cool, and there was some nice little moments, the odd bit of comedy, but a lot of it didn't land for me, and therefore I would have to give the Adam Project a 5 out of 10. Maybe that's being generous, I don't know, but anything below a 5, it's like you're talking about some pretty god-awful shit. Thank you guys for watching. If you've seen the Adam Project, let me know what you thought about it. Let me know if I've been way too critical, if you actually think it's worse. Please, feel free to let me know. I've been Joe Squared, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.